The joy of Satan is now and will continue being a place of advancement for humanity. We understand our purpose is of historical importance. As time goes, others will understand this too. We are still all very early in this. Over the last 2 decades, impostors, enemies and those against us have failed to destroy what Satan himself has established, which is the joy of Satan. They are acting on futile hopes if they believe the joy of Satan and its people will be deterred from the path the gods have set in front of us. As it should be expected, the once small seed the gods have planted is now getting bigger and bigger. Nothing deterred it from growth when it was small and weak, and therefore nothing will stop it in the future. The souls of the gods that reside here will not allow none of this to pass. With the power of the gods now increasing and constantly becoming more obvious day by day, humanity not only stands as chance to spiritually ruin the enemy, but we also want to move beyond this, into creation and generation of a better and more uplifted world. The gods want for mankind to progress. We follow upon this dictate. In accordance to the will of the gods, I present therefore the 10 points of the charter for the next 10 years in the joy of Satan. This will be our long-term plan for advancing. 1. The joy of Satan must reach maximum exposure, with more than 1 billion people being exposed to spiritual Satanism and confronted with the reality of the necessity to return to our ancient gods. The aim of at least 1 billion people have to be reached by the end of the decade. The number can be overcome, and the more, the better. The ultimate aim of the joy of Satan is for itself to become renowned to all Gentiles across the whole of the planet, to the point where somehow, quite a few people one meets outside will have at least encountered the sight. The above is to be done either through great noble acts, spreading of information, or directing people through advertising, keeping in mind their free will of choice. The joy of Satan will remain open to all Gentiles who want to join it, yet, the expectation of not perverting its message by a single line will be of utmost importance. We would rather remain a non-majority path, or even a very small minority path, or a small network, over corrupting any of our core ideals or purpose. We are to maintain our advocacy towards human elitism with spirituality and wisdom of soul at the core, celebration of human differences, advancement, and through this, humanity might for once have an actual brotherhood based on respect and non-assimilation of its elements. Our paradigm is opposed to the enemy paradigm. Everyone must have an opportunity to join at some point, and this opportunity has to be made universally accessible and available. How people will act is again the fruit of their own free will. 2. The joy of Satan will become, as we have been making it, the best place for spiritual development worldwide. The best and most proper spiritual knowledge will be given and disseminated, for the good of mankind. The meditations and spiritual knowledge of the joy of Satan is to be unparalleled, and whomever is aware of the matters of the Spirit must know that the joy of Satan holds the highest and most powerful spiritual knowledge. 3. The joy of Satan will uplift the gods into the highest level that it has ever been done in recent history. We will reveal the truth about the gods, and provide them the best representation they have had for centuries. The above, granted the expansion of the gods and their knowledge, will be coming with monumentally positive effects for humanity, a humanity no longer abandoned inside the plaguing darkness of enemy lies, but again connected to the gods that want to protect it in the passing of its destiny. 4. The joy of Satan, and I too, want to lead everyone in a strong satanic brotherhood through the next decade of radical change. Brothers and sisters who will take responsibility, as leaders, teachers, or guides, will be respectable personalities on the forum, will hold firmly the satanic family intact, as we move through the twilight of the changes of the next decade. All of this power will be centered into one singular brotherhood, with the gods at the center, and us all around organized as sun rays emanating from the central sun. We must firmly hold onto each other, so that we all end through this decade not only considerably more advanced spiritually, but also physically, intellectually and materially. 5. Spiritual warfare will happen until the enemy is destroyed. We intend to expand our spiritual power not only in numbers, but also in spiritual knowledge, Unceasing warfare in its application until the enemy who keeps humanity back is completely nullified and then destroyed. We stand opposed to the enemy's world order, which has falsely been claimed as the New World Order. This is nothing else but the Old World Order, the fruit of the enemy, the same souls that have highly damaged and delayed humanity from its given destiny. These Middle Ages-born slavers, we do stand opposed against. We stand against this, in our opinion, desperate attempt to create a dystopia that will enslave the soul and mind of man. The gods themselves want this to happen, and we will do this with unceasing spiritual warfare. It's time that Gentiles not only return into control of our own destiny, but cast the enemy into the depth of the spiritual abyss now and forever. 6. Except of work of spiritual destruction and war, half of all our collective effort will go into self-improvement, world improvement, but above all, the collective improvement of us all as a group and spiritual family of souls. Inside this family, as in the external world, we want to retain our differences, both natural and spiritual, promoting in our midst relations of advancement, rather than equality towards the bottom rung of existence. That is in accordance to the will of the gods, who have put us all here with a collective purpose and want us to channel our collective power both unto ourselves and unto the world. 7. The joy of Satan wants to increasingly, either through spiritual or material means, positively affect the decision-making offices of this world, in fair judgment and to promote the reconstruction of systems of rulership that are more just, friendly towards nature, and beneficial to man. Assistance in the removal of the enemy and their philosophies, from all institutions and decision-making posts, and therefore the minds and life of the people, is desirable. We will assist into this, either through replacement of corrupted individuals by some of our own, or at least in general by blessed and wise individuals that will be spiritually put in place. Nemesis and divine retribution coming from spiritual knowledge and from the gods, or intellectual takeover may be means to that end. As people once used to come to our gods to pray and receive guidance, for leaders of this world and heads of states, or any others must have availability to consult the gods again. We must give these people too, except of giving this knowledge to the masses, the ability again to receive positive understanding from the gods, so that mistakes in the dangerous future that is coming are to be minimized. Mistakes of the past where spiritual ignorance caused excessive damage to humanity must not be repeated in the Satanic era, and if it ever occurs, it should be corrected, but in all instances be attempted to be avoided. 8. Members of the joy of Satan are to be elevated through collective use of our spiritual force, propelling them both spiritually and materially into higher position in life, for those who want to use their abilities to rise in our world, with the above service towards humanity and our gods in mind. Those who serve these divine interests will also be rewarded to continue doing so. Infiltration into worldly offices, institutions, even religions, is advised. As people also fulfill their own destiny, they must carry with them what the gods give them, and carry this to enlighten the world. This could be all the way from one's local neighborhood or their closed circle of friends, to crafty ways that will promote the gods in the eyes of tens of millions of real people. Each will act on their own powers. 9. The joy of Satan and its knowledge is to become immortalized, extremely distributed, existing in an ever-increasing amount of places, physical or virtual. The knowledge in it being crystal clear, will serve as a guide for the future of humanity. As humanity will expand throughout the stars, the correct knowledge and spiritual inspiration of joy of Satan must become adopted thought and principle for human beings. 10. The joy of Satan will be pivotal in forcing the redefinition of all the enemy paradigms, subjugation and annihilation of enemy lies, promotion of science, spirituality, a love for the return towards the human inner wisdom, intuition, and the spirit of wisdom seeking. The joy of Satan will stand opposed to existential nihilism, enslavement, and any other values who try to cripple humanity and destroy it for the benefits of a very few. The above is to be instated with logic, understanding and through the rising of wisdom, or through spiritual force. There should be no way that the above is not done, abandoned, or left to be on its own fate. We are entirely against merely looking and not acting on the above charter, and anyone who calls themselves a Satanist must partake and help into this undertaking. All of the above. We pray and look forward that the gods of Orion will bestow upon us all, individually, collectively and in our world. No longer will this world be cut from them, provided they give us their support and we also keep our existential connection as a core memory. The joy of Satan must act as the biggest conduit for the will of the gods, and promote the example of others to walk on the straight path. Hail the joy of Satan!